Hello friends, you are welcome again the Listening Empire. Robert Kiyosaki wrote a book in 1997. This book made a splash as soon as it came in the market, and became a best-selling book. Robert Kiyosaki's has two fathers were one his real father, whom he used to call Poor Dad i.e. Rich Dad. And he used to consider his friend Mitch's father as a mouth-to-mouth father and he called him Rich Dad. His real father, he wrote enough, he was a professor in a college. Take that in his whole life, there has been a lot of struggle with money. And that's the reason why Robert calls him Poor Dad. And the same other person, who his mouth is father. He wrote less, but still a very big businessman, and a successful man. And that's why Robert calls him Rich Dad. Robert Kiyosaki explains in his book Rich Dad Poor Dad that when he was 9 years old, he looked at other rich kids in school. He also had a desire to become rich. And that's why he asked his poor dad, how does one become rich? But those who were his poor dad had no answer for this. And he said that you ask your friend Mitch's father the answer to this, because he can answer you this question very well. Then Robert goes to his rich dad and asks his question. And that's where an important series of Robert's financial education begins. His rich dad at different stages of his life. To become rich and always remain American, some important lessons are told. And with this, he tells many things in this book. Like how money should be maintained. How to put money to work. And what such mistakes, due to which the poor always remain poor. And apart from this, he tells that if poor people also follow all these things, then they too can become rich quickly. So now let's talk about those important lessons. Number 1, rich people never work for money. Generally people work very hard to become rich. Their effort is that they get a job that will keep them getting good salary every month. And after doing the job, they go to their job with full effort and dedication. And with this, they get caught in such a trap from where they can never get out. And many people become part of the greedy race to get rich this way. They would have known that the salary would be available at the end of the month. And for this reason, they take a big house on loan, buy a car, buy expensive things with credit cards. And get trapped in such a trap. Because the things you have taken on loan, you have to pay the loan also. And to pay that loan, you will have to work for many years. Whatever amount will come from your job, the maximum amount will go towards paying your loan. And in the same way, many people's lives go on doing jobs and paying loans. Now the question comes that what to do if you do not work for money. Rich people don't work for money. They do something that makes money work for them. And what they do, you will get the answer in the coming few points. Why people need to learn financial education. In the second lesson, Rich Dad learns that it is very important for people to understand money. But every country in the world has all kinds of problems except financial education. This is because there is a system in place to study hard and get good marks and then do a good job. But the truth is, no job can ever make you rich. Suppose a person becomes a doctor or engineer by writing a post. But that too gets trapped in the cycle of 9 to 5 jobs. As we talked about in the first point. And to break out of this cycle, Rich Dad spoke about assets and liabilities. Assets are things that put money in your pocket. And liabilities are all those things that take money out of your pocket. For example, if you have given a house on rent. So we call it assets. Because that is putting money in your pocket. And the same thing else you take on a car on loan. So we call them liabilities. Because that car is taking money out of your pocket. And to become rich the most important thing is that you buy assets. And reduce liabilities as much as possible. And all these things are taught in any school in the world. Because there it is taught only about how to get a good job. It is never taught how to grow your money. And that is why it is very important to learn financial education. Third lesson, do your own business. In this lesson, Rich Dad told, a simple job man. Anyone can do such work which will increase his income. For this it is not necessary to start from the big level. Because not everyone has that much money. You can do any work you like while doing your job. For example, if a teacher is a professor, then it is his profession and not his business. His own work will be that which he himself will start. Once upon a time, the founder of McDonald's was giving a lecture in the class of MBA. During the speech, Kroc asked the students, "Do you know what business I do?" So all the students said that you are in the business of hamburger. And after hearing this answer, Kroc laughed. Then he said that I am not in the business of hamburger. Because my job is of real estate. That's because whenever someone wants to buy Donald's franchise, then he has to buy that land too. Juana real estate business. And you see for yourself. That Donald is standing as the biggest real estate empire in the whole world. So Rich Dad lets Robert Kiyosaki learn how more people work for everyone else. But don't do it for yourself. That's why a person should focus his attention on himself. But that doesn't mean that you should quit your job. They want to say that you are with your job. You should also focus on strengthening the aspect of your assets. Next lesson, work to learn, not for money. Robert Kiyosaki explains in his book. Once he was interviewed by a female journalist. She told them that her dream was also to become a best-selling writer. But she could not become that woman's way of writing was also very good. And Robert had read many of his articles. That's why Robert advised that woman to take a sales training course. Listening to this, the woman became angry. Because she was highly educated and had a master's degree in English literature. Because according to her, learning the work of sales was not his standard. Robert says that the world is full of intelligent people. But the point is that it is not only necessary to have talent to earn money. You must know how you can capitalize on that talent. And until you know this, all your talent is in vain. And like the same girl, a lot of guys don't work to learn. If she learns the training of female sales, then she may become the best-selling writer in the coming time. But she doesn't learn, and that's why the poor always remain poor. Rich people work to learn, and rich learn and become richer. Robert Kiyosaki explains that his poor dad. He was always worried about his job. But his rich dad used to put more emphasis on learning. Because he believed that to become rich one has to learn many things. And that was the biggest difference between the two. Lesson 6, Overcoming Obstacles. Robert Kiyosaki also tells this in his book. Many people have an understanding of money. But still, there are such barriers in their way, due to which they are not able to grow their assets much. And Robert pointed out 5 obstacles. First, fear. Any person in the world feels bad about the loss of money. Even the rich have the fear of losing money. But the problem is how to deal with it after the loss. It is important how you take your failure. This is the biggest difference between rich and poor. How does he cope with his failure? Second obstacle, hide doubt. While investing money, we have doubts in our mind which jams us. There would be a question in everyone's mind that the money that I invested was sunk. So what if everything is not done according to my plan? We get fear with such DOBs, and we can't even start whatever we think of doing. And in the same way, thousands of opportunities pass before our eyes and we keep seeing. Third obstacle, laziness, which is man's worst enemy and never lets man move forward. Robert says that the people who are the most busy are also the most lazy people working for money. All the time in life should understand that too much of anything is wrong. And recently I had made a video on eliminating laziness. So if you have not seen that video, then please must watch that video also. Fourth obstacle, have bad habits. If two people are to be compared, then there is a lot of change in their habits. Also Robert says that he gives himself money first. And because of this, he feels himself financially and emotionally strong. What they mean is that every month when money comes to them. So first of all, separate your savings and investment money. And after that, if you pay your bills, then if you have the desire to become rich, then you will have to inculcate this habit. So even if you have less money, then try yourself first and then do all the work. This will give you 2 benefits. Firstly, your money will increase. And secondly, you will get many opportunities to earn in front of you. And you can take advantage of them too. Fifth obstacle is ego. Rich Dad says that some people have more ego and they use it to hide their ignorance. They say whatever knowledge to me, I am successful in making money because of that. And I lose my money because of things I don't know. If you do not have knowledge of anything, then keep your ego aside and learn it well first. If you do this, you can avoid a huge loss. Let us now see the summary of this video. So first of all, we talked that Robert was 2 fathers. A poor father and a rich father. And what he learned from his rich dad in his 30 years of life. That's what he told in his book Rich Dad Poor Dad. So the number 1 lesson was that rich people don't work for money. Number 2, financial education is very important. And on this point we talked about that if you want to become rich, then you have to buy assets and reduce liabilities. Lesson number 3, mind your own business. Lesson number 4, work to learn, not to earn. Last point was overcoming obstacles. And in this point, Robert Kiyosaki told 5 such points due to which you are not able to increase your assets. And those 5 obstacles something like this: fear, doubts, laziness, bad habits, and ego. And among friends, recommend all of you to read this book. Thank you. I hope you like a video.